I've always had that self-drive where, look, hey, I set my goals on something and I try to figure out how we can get there.
Wasn't working out for me, the family business. I dabbled a little bit with acting, you know?
Amazing.
Yeah, a lot of auditions.
Really bad at going to build relationships or vice versa. Someone would be really good at building relationships and not good at the other. So I think it's really finding the people that are out there right now. What are you good at? And, are you in the right place, right? I do think that we will see a good amount of people refinancing this year, probably more towards the next 6 months or
There's lenders everywhere. Rates are constantly changing. Every person has different options, different. So, how do you handle the competition? Welcome to STC Chats. I'm Nicholas Amato, a full-time realtor on Long Island. I'm also an entrepreneur, a husband, and a father. In this podcast, we're going to be chatting with top professionals, influencers, and entrepreneurs to uncover what true success is. The journey, the mindset, and living life on your terms. So whether you are seeking your own version of success or looking for motivation and inspiration, join the conversation. Thank you for joining the conversation on STC Chats. Today's guest is someone I personally know, trust, and one of my preferred lenders here on Long Island, Brian Scott Cohen from Guaranteed Rate Affinity. Brian brings over 20 years of experience and more than $6 billion in funded loans, helping 9,000 plus clients finance everything from co-ops, condos, to luxury homes across New York City and the tri-state area. He's been nationally recognized by Scotsman Guide and the Mortgage Executive magazine, ranked among the top loan originators in the country, even placed as high as top 8 nationally. You've probably also seen him on stage at industry events and speaking panels, sharing insights with other professionals. And today we get to hear from him directly. Brian, I appreciate you being here. Let's get into it.
love it. Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
So, I want to rewind a little bit because everyone's journey is different, and I personally love hearing how it all started. So, how did you get into the mortgage business?
Yeah, so mine's pretty interesting. I don't know how much time you got, but I'll try and make it brief. So, after college, essentially, I graduated and my major was communications. Had no idea what I was going to do. Maybe I was just going to be on Nick, your podcast here, and that was like my future calling. Um, I majored in communications, had no idea what I was going to do with it. And before my senior year of college, I worked at a law firm and was like, okay, maybe I'll go to law school. I had no clue what I wanted to do. Long story short is after I graduated college, I live downtown New York City now, near South Street Seaport, and I was a paralegal. I was hole punching stuff. I was knocking on people's doors, giving subpoenas. Like, it was fun. I did a lot of photocopying, and at the time, I think I was making, I don't know, it was 25, maybe $30,000 a year. I think it was closer to 25,000 a year, and I had roommates, and I lived downtown. And one of my old roommates from college graduated a semester before I did, or he had like a 5-year plan, and I was on a 4-year plan. Anyway, he graduated before I did. And was working in the mortgage business. And he lived upstate New York in a town called Hopewell Junction, New York, near Poughkeepsie. And this guy was like a party animal, and he wasn't the guy you thought was going to come out of college doing well.
Right.
And I was living downtown. He calls me up one night. He's like, "Hey, I'm coming to the city. I'm going to take you out. We're going to go to the club. We're going to get bottles." And I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, this guy? I'm like, dude, how do you have money? I'm like, did something like, I was like, is your family okay? Like, did someone like, are you good? And he's like, I'm working. I'm doing mortgages. And I was like, what? I was like, is that illegal? I mean, what's a mortgage? Like, how's this guy? Long story short, this guy came down to the city and he came in a limo and he's like, we're going out. And I kept thinking, like, did he sell drugs? Like, who did he rob? Like, and I was so confused. I started talking to him and I was like, what's the name of your company? And he told me the name of the company and I looked it up. I was like, it sounds like a real company. Long
What year
story
was this
short,
around?
this was 2003.
Okay.
Yeah, this was 20. Yeah, we're going way back, dude,
Yeah,
way
yeah.
back. Long story short, he at the time was probably making 50,000, and to me that was like $1 million, right? It was double what I was making, and this guy was taking me out and was like super exciting. Long story short is his company opened an office in Brooklyn, which was like two subway stops from downtown Manhattan. And I called him and I was like, hey, look, man, I was like, I want to do what you're doing. I was like, as long as it's legal, like I'm in. Like, tell me what this mortgage stuff is. And he's like, oh, I'm gonna get you an interview with the Brooklyn office. And I called the Brooklyn office. They're like, oh, we just opened, but we're completely full. There's no seats. Like, call me back. And I was like, all right. And I went to Barnes and Noble, which was still open at the time. I don't know if it exists. Long story short, I bought like 10 different books on mortgages and I read everything you can think of. Mortgage for Dummies, Mortgage 101, How to Buy a Home. I read all these books and I was like, okay, I get it. Like, this is legit. Like, you lend people money to buy houses. I was like, all right. Circle like 4 months later, I called this office on AmeriQuest like every single day until they kindly let me in for a job interview. And they're like, "Hey, what kind of experience do you have?" Like, and I was like, "I read 10 books. I know, and I'm ready to go." And my friend says he's making $50,000 a year. I was like, "I want in." The big manager's like, "Okay." After back and forth, eventually hired me. I started April 2024. And the first 2 weeks, he's like, "You're going to training." And I was like, "I'm not going to training." I was like, "I just read 10 books, man." I was like, "I'm ready to go." And I did no training. My first month, I closed 12 loans, and the rest is history.
Wow.
Yeah.
Were you always like a go-getter though?
You
Like it
know
sounds like you're a
what?
little bit of a go-getter, like pretty persuasive.
You know what? I think persistent would be a good word to
Yeah,
describe it.
yeah, persistent,
Where,
persistent.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that I wanted to do it. I was interested in it, and I wanted to learn about it. So I think I've always had that. I've always had that self drive where, look, hey, I set my goals on something and I try to figure out how we can get there. So I've always had that kind of drive in
Were
me
you
to,
like working like little jobs like through high school and stuff? I mean, we're going way back here, but it doesn't.
yeah,
I was gonna
I
say it sounds like with the personality,
I
you know?
did. Yeah, I
Yeah,
did. I did. I was always, I need to be busy is what I would say.
yeah. I
Yeah.
can relate to that. I can
And
relate to
what
that.
about your story? Am I allowed to ask you questions on this,
You
or
can
is
ask me
this
questions. I
only
mean, I
about
have so
me?
many. Actually, no one's ever asked me that. I have so many different,
Uh, uh,
so
get that?
different, so many different. I wasn't the best kid in school, actually. I really
Okay.
wasn't. Yeah, yeah. Went to a couple schools, transferred,
Okay.
and yeah, I mean, my father was in a construction company, so owns a construction company, pretty successful construction company. So that was
Yep.
kind of like, oh, I'm gonna do that, and but
Yeah.
wasn't working out for me, the family business. I dabbled a little bit with acting, you know.
Amazing.
Yeah, a lot of auditions. Honestly, I was a terrible actor, just terrible.
Really?
But yeah, yeah, yeah. But
I think you'd be good.
yeah, and what else? And then I went to school. I was going for the law, pre-law, like going
There
like
we
political
go.
science, American studies. I went to Hofstra. I did pretty good, like grades I did great once you like really apply yourself. And then I took the LSAT. I was in the room and I was like, I don't think I want to do this. And
While
then,
you were there?
like when I was right when I was taking the test, I mean, I took the test and everything, but I just like looked around, nothing against attorneys, but like the peers and like, I just was like, I don't think this is for me. And my father, he's a builder, he's a contractor, and he's doing flips and stuff. He's like, you could do this. You got the personality and all that stuff. Little did I know, I'm like, what, doesn't take just a personality here. And what does he know about
Right.
that? But anyway, so I went down that route and I was doing that for like a couple of years while I was also working for my father and dabbling with a bunch. I was also a personal trainer at one point when I was in good shape, a million different things. Long story
Like,
short, now I just do this full time and it's good at it. I love it and that's it. But thanks for asking me.
yeah, I'm very curious. That's
Yeah, yeah. So, you're like in a super like we're in the same industry but totally two different like your mortgages and I'm selling homes, right?
yep.
So it's a very competitive business. Like there's lenders calling me all the time like take want to take me out to lunch and they're like courting me
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so and you're also in the city. It's like one of the most competitive markets in the country.
Yeah.
you know, there's lenders everywhere. Rates are constantly changing. Every person has different options, different. So, how do you handle the competition as far as like not talking about like the programs and all this stuff, your mindset? How do you handle the competition when you're dealing with that?
It's a great question. I think my mindset right now, it's not always been, it's not an easy thing, right? Like your mind is super
Yeah.
powerful. I just focus on look building relationships with good people, right? Like who do I want to work with that I can see myself having a meal with, going to the gym with, or meeting my wife or my kids, right? And those are the people that I want to work with, that I want to hang out with, that I want to do business with because it's a team effort, right? Like behind you, you have a team. There's other people on your team. You have
Right.
attorneys, you have mortgage people, you have everyone that you work with. And I want people who are responsive and who I trust. Who will I work with and who will work with me that I will send my family to and say, hey, Nick, I got, someone wants to buy a home on Long Island. I trust that you'll take care of them.
Right.
So I just focus on myself and, look, there's always a lot of competition, but I know what I'm capable of. And
Right.
I know that, experience counts. I'm aging myself, but in reality, I think that I've built a brand of trust behind me. Like if I say we're gonna close, we're gonna close. Like
Yeah.
it's just the bottom
That's what I
line.
always tell people too with you. Like, yeah, I have different lenders for different stuff, like,
Sure.
because, some people like it's very cut and dry, cookie cut, but like for someone that's like, I think we're at what was happening when we did one of the closings, I needed you. The guy's bank shut down and he needed to like close right away. And
Yep.
I was like, he said he could do it, he'll do it. And that was it. It was done.
Yeah.
Now, you're constantly like, I watch you on social media. I know, I see at sponsoring events and all that stuff, and you're constantly like putting yourself out there, connecting with brokers, forming relationships, and you're also just you're just always working too. Like you're always kind of like handling, servicing the clients on top of it. Now, that's a lot to juggle. How do you manage the time and energy to perform at such a high level in business while also making time for your family? Because you're a family man as well.
Yeah. I try and set boundaries and kind of schedule my time. So, I'm in the office until 8 o'clock and then I stop. So like 8 o'clock, like I know I'm gonna go home and kick my son's butt in Madden right now. Like when we're
Right.
done, 8 o'clock, I'm gonna play Madden. I know it, Friday at 6:30, I'm gonna go to a cooking class with my daughter and I plan it out. But while I'm doing this stuff, I have a great team. So like someone's going to be on my email, someone's going to be on my phone. So if you need me, there's going to be someone on my team who will
Right.
be there and answer the phone, who's licensed, who's capable, and knows their stuff. And you got to make that time. Look, it's work is 1,000,000% important, but family is also important too. Like,
So is this like, because I always say this too, but I don't, like my phone rings and it's like, you really disciplined with like the hard stop, like at 8. And
yeah,
there's no emergency, right? Like a deal's not falling apart past 8 p.m. It would be, you
no.
can handle it the next day.
But if someone needs me, I'll just say, hey, look, I'll call you in an
Yeah.
hour. Like
Because you're
I'll
pretty accessible when I reach out to you too.
Yeah, and I love it. Like on the weekends, like if my phone doesn't ring, I'm pretty upset. Like people,
Right.
are, oh, I'm sorry to call you on a Saturday. Like, no, I want you to call me on a Saturday. Like this is what I do. Like, and if I can't talk, I'll tell you, hey, look, I'll call you in 20 minutes. There's not a time unless something's wrong with me or I'm on an
Uh,
airplane that I'm not going to answer. Well, as long as I'm awake, I'll let you know, hey, look, I will get back to you in 30 minutes if I'm doing something.
yeah.
But it's always like I try and leave my office with no emails left. Right
Yeah.
now there's, a bunch. I will try and get it done by 8. If not, I'll hop back on at 10 after I put my kids to sleep and I'll get it done.
Yeah. It's funny. You have like this, you probably hear this all the time, or maybe not. Like you have like this temperament of like very calm, very accessible, like no ego dealing with you whatsoever. And I just want to point this out. I think I told you this before. I was talking to like there was like another lender or another mortgage person. I called you and you picked up the phone right away. And he's like, Brian Scott Cohen? He's like this big, I'm like, really? I had no idea. Which was
Yeah.
like that's like huge. Um Granted,
Yeah.
like we're big in our, not we, but you're big in this,
Little
this
world. Yeah.
little world. But I was like, I had no idea. So that's like that's amazing
Yeah.
quality to have.
And I love talking to people. Like,
Yeah,
again, like my family's used to it. And for me, you work so hard to get your phone to ring. So
Right.
it's when Saturday, Sunday, let's go, let's
Yeah.
chat, and I think it's a great thing, and you gotta love what you do.
Yeah, there's that I've seen the saying, I've seen it a couple times, like it's a blessing to be tired of the work that you wish you had at one point. You
Yeah,
know,
it's a
I'm
good one.
messing up the quote, but it's
I
you know.
Yeah,
So, for someone who's aspiring to become like a mortgage professional, or basically, there's people that have been in the business forever, but they just haven't reached that magnitude. What advice would you have for them?
yeah, it's a good question. Just putting this to voicemail. Sorry. So I would tell you, I wish there was more people that were coming out of college and said, "Hey, did I lose you?"
No, no, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm listening.
Okay. I wish that there was more people that came out of college and said, "Hey, I want to get into this mortgage business." And it's always constantly changing, but I've never met anybody who went to college and, took a degree in mortgage and said, "Hey, I want to be a professional and help people buy homes and learn about, different kinds of mortgage-backed securities and debt." Um, so I would love to see people get into the business to learn how it is to build a relationship and build a business is pretty exciting. And for people that have been doing it for a while, I think that there's a lot of parts to the job that someone may be really great at structuring a file and and dealing with paperwork and W-2s, and someone may be really bad at going to build relationships, or vice versa. Someone may be really good at building relationships and not good at the other. So I think it's really finding the people that are out there right now. What are you good at? And, are you in the right place, right? I think that's really important. I think that there's a lot of loan officers that, do the full gamut, and there's amazing people out there. And there's some other people that I talk to, and I'm like, hey, I think you'd be great if you did this part of the job because that's what you love, right? And maybe they'd be more successful if they only did, part of the transaction, because there's a lot of
Right.
stuff that goes into real estate and mortgages, right? In the mortgage part, there's building the relationship, there's bringing in the leads, there's then selling the rate, then there's processing the loan, then there's the close. There's a lot of pieces in an actual mortgage and the process. So I think it's just finding out what you're really good at and what you like doing, and do more of that part of the loan if you could.
All right. All right. So, let's talk about the real estate market. All right.
Sure.
Just briefly. So what are you
Like
seeing? Like, I want to get a little bit of insights. What are you seeing as far as because what is it? It is February 5th,
fit. Yeah.
2026. So we're going to talk about now. I mean, I got an editor now for this podcast that could pump it out pretty quick. It used to take me forever, but
Yeah.
just, that's why I'm giving the date now, just in case if it gets too late, it's like a year down the road. You never know
Yep.
when this gets released. But what are you seeing as far as the market for you? There's no one has
Yeah.
a crystal ball, but like, are you seeing a lot of buyer, like ton of pre-approvals going out? I'm hearing a lot of refinancing too. I'm hearing that.
Yeah, so I have a crystal ball, by the way. It's in my office. This doesn't
All
work, but I
right.
got, I got it for a client as a gift. So I do have the crystal ball. But look, I think nationally refinances are up, and they're up big. In my market, in your market, it's a little bit different, a little bit more complex with some of the collateral to get a refinance. It's a little bit more expensive than your typical other states and other areas of properties, because we have mortgage tax, because there's co-op boards. When you refinance, you still have need co-op approval and things of
Right.
that nature. So it's not as robust here as it is in other areas. But I do think that we will see a good amount of people refinancing this year, probably more towards the next 6 months or towards the end of the
Yeah.
year. I do think that's going to happen. I
What
would
about
say,
purchases?
yeah,
You seeing a lot
purchasers.
purchases?
I would say that we had a very good December. I think we had a very decent January for applications coming in. We are seeing a healthy number of pre-approvals, but I think we're just beginning. So my thought is we're in February now, and I would think that we're going to see some more inventory coming on as the year gets a little bit
100,
deeper.
yeah. Everyone's waiting for that snow to melt.
Exactly. It's slippery out there, man. It's
It's
slippery.
no joke.
It's
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 no joke.
slippery. It's freezing too.
It's freezing.
So I think we're gonna have a gangbuster in March, April, May, and I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, I'm working with, I got a lot of listings coming up or potential listings coming up. We're working with a ton of buyers. That's what we're kind of seeing. But I had an appraisal today, and I always ask when I'm there, I'm like, asking, like, oh, so what are you getting? You're
What's
like, no, we've been pretty busy. Like, I always feel like the appraisers can really, because they're like right while everything is happening. And you said
yeah,
the refi and stuff. Yeah.
they're getting the orders, of
They-
course.
yeah. And the rate are people doing fixed or arms?
Depending on the loan size, so the larger the loan, we're seeing more adjustables.
Right.
Smaller the loans, we're seeing more fixed.
Because like, what are the adjustable rates right now? Like,
Mid to low fives.
why would someone, I gotta ask this, because I was thinking this the other day, why wouldn't someone do adjustable rate mortgage versus fixed? Because even at this rate, people are gonna probably refinance, not that the rate's crazy high,
Yeah.
but, wouldn't it make more sense? Because you could do a 7-year arm and pay less on interest.
Yeah, it's very personal preference, depending on who's involved with the decision making. Is there a
Right,
parent involved? Is there, are they buying their forever home or a starter place? And it also really depends on income and payment comfortability, right?
right,
So
right,
if the monthly payment, if you're taking out a $400,000 loan and the 30-year fixed rate is, low sixes or six versus five and a half a point on a $200,000 loan, maybe your monthly payment's 150 bucks, $200 difference a month. Someone that makes a lot of money may say, you know what, for 200 bucks, I'll just take the fixed rate.
right,
And the income is closer to that, you may say, you know what, the 150 bucks is going to cover my Netflix or my,
right.
Con Ed bill. So it really depends on what each person's individual scenario is, on what product works best. I'd
What
say.
about like are you dealing with a lot of how many people really like buy down? Buy down the rate, or is it kind of I was never like when I bought my house and my second house, I didn't buying down the rate, I don't know, I feel like I'm just gonna and I refinanced the first house at one point.
Yeah,
I had a rate at like 3.125 at one point, man. That was a beauty.
the good old days. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's incredible. I would tell you that we see buy downs in two different ways right now. So option one, if someone's buying new construction, sometimes there's incentives where the seller is buying it
Right.
down. We're also working with buyers that are negotiating rate buy downs as part of their offers right now,
Yeah.
for properties that are
For
sitting a
mostly
little
new
bit longer.
constructions, right?
New construction,
Because
we're
I'm
seeing
hearing
it
that
on new
across the
stuff too.
nation, that's what's going on. Like these
Yeah.
sellers, which I don't know why, because like on Long Island, sorry to cut you off,
No, 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 yeah.
but on Long Island, like the new constructions, I mean, they're flying.
They
They're flying
fly.
for a
Yeah.
primary market. I'm not talking
Yep.
the Hamptons market. I'm talking
Sure.
like, Nassau, Suffolk is the
Cover.
Hamptons, but we call it Up Island,
Yep. Makes sense. Yeah. Every market's different. I think the longer property's been sitting, the more, you can negotiate.
Right,
There's national statistics that came out, based on, I think it was based on Q3 data last year, that 40% of all sales had some kind of concession,
right.
which is it's pretty high. I mean, it's
Yeah,
higher than I would have thought. But I think that for buyers to pay themselves to buy down the interest rates, I say, look, weigh out your options, have your mortgage specialist lay it out for
right,
you and see where your break even point is. If you're taking a 30-year fix, that means you think you're going to keep it for longer than 5 or 7 years, which is your typical adjustable rate period,
right,
5, 7, or 10. So I think that if you're thinking you're going to keep the 30-year fix for a long period of time, then yeah, I would look at paying points to buy down your rate permanently. But if you're doing an adjustable, thinking you're going to refinance in the next
right,
12 to 24 months, probably not.
right. What like average price point? I mean, cities like right. There's some high like there's a lot of
Yeah.
stuff under 1 million, right, in the city.
Yeah, I mean, look, a lot of things were selling last year.
Like, what's the average price point that you're seeing, and what's the average price point you're seeing, and what it like how much percentage of it is finance, meaning how much are they putting down wise?
Yeah, it varies. I would say our average down payment is probably around 25% average.
Okay,
And then the price range runs the full gamut, right? Because we run, from, a co-op in that could be very low price to, your super high-end property.
right,
So it really ranges, but some of the data that has come out last year on sales. I mean, a good percent of sales are actually under $1 million, right?
Right.
Um, you guys do some high end stuff, so the average price is obviously higher in some things, but
Right.
there's buyers out there that can buy in New York City that costs under $1 million. And people are like, oh, I didn't know that. Like people automatically think that every apartment's a penthouse and costs multi-million dollars, but you can get properties for,
Right.
three, four, five, six, $700,000. They all don't have to be multi-million dollars. And I think that's a misconception out there.
How much do you love talking about mortgages? I feel like,
I could do it all day, man.
like,
I could do it all day. I could do it all day. I could do it all day. But you know what? Look, I think as a mortgage person, sometimes when you do it so much, you're saying the same thing over and
yeah,
over
that's what I
again.
mean.
It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah. I always
Um,
get the question like, "Oh, is now a good time to sell?" I'm like, when you're ready, that's when the right
that's
time to sell, and when to buy is when there's no, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
there's
I-
no perfect time. Anyway, man, I really listen. I know you're super, super busy. I appreciate you for taking the time. That's a wrap. I hope you like this episode. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and follow so you don't miss any of the other episodes coming up. Until then, I'll see you next time.